7 Days of Wisdom, Aquaus Kelley. Today I will be discussing a very pressing, timely, significant issue. And that is what has recently taken place over the last few days with Pepsi's latest advertising campaign featuring Kendall Jenner. Now, usually I do not touch on anything pertaining to pop culture headlines, trendy topics. It's not my thing. However, due to the underlying message and opportunity of this incident that has transpired, I feel more than compelled and responsible to at least touch on what has taken place in a way that can allow people to learn from Pepsi's mistake, but more importantly, see an opportunity where we can create meaningful discussion, dialogue, and conversation. So let me frame this by saying that in no way am I taking shots at anybody involved. I'm not the type, nor am I here to point fingers or blame or argue. The only thing I want to do is find solutions to problems and fix mistakes. And obviously, it's publicly known that Pepsi has made a very large mistake that they have publicly apologized for. And according to Pepsi, their intention, and I'm reading this right now from Twitter, was to try to project a global message of unity, peace, and understanding. And that wasn't exactly how their message was received. And due to that, it's now time that we use this as an opportunity to fix what went wrong. So Pepsi, as a corporation, as a global brand, as an influencer, they represent Americana, they represent success, they represent what it means to be a very influential entity and product. And Kendall represents something similar on a personal level, a personal branded level. There are many people who look to Kendall, many young people, and that's one of the reasons why Pepsi decided to get her involved in the campaign in the first place. It's business. I can understand that. It's business. So emotions aside, judgment aside, as a business, it's obvious that the intention is to create awareness towards a product that can generate revenue and sales and bottom line. And hopefully within that, there can be a message that can also generate some sort of thought, some sort of consideration of what's currently happening in our society. Some sort of social awareness. So whether or not we want to applaud Pepsi for the effort is entirely up to us. Again, I'm not here to judge or criticize. That's, up to however we want to receive any message put in front of us. What is a fact is that we are now in a position in society, not only in America, but throughout the globe, where there is a lot of unsettled energy when it comes to race, class, sex, gender, ethnicity, nationality. There's a lot of tension in the air, which is unsettled. And I believe this is a very key word when I say unsettled, meaning that when we analyze and look at the parties involved in this particular dilemma, this particular incident, we have a huge corporation, we have a very well-known public figure who are both super influential and can potentially get in front of what is taking place to, instead of sharing a message through a campaign, can actually live a message and shift the paradigm from here on out. And what I mean by this is the perfect opportunity to use a mistake to bring people together due to the attention that this mistake has created. Everyone's eyes right now are on Pepsi as a brand and Kendall as a brand. So anything they say will mean something. Again, anything they say will mean something. I just checked Twitter earlier today. Pepsi, Kendall, neither has released any statements so far, and I don't blame them. That's a smart thing to do because this definitely has to be thought out. However, once they do release a statement, it is going to have a ripple effect on society at large. So we can either have a very positive ripple effect or a very negative ripple effect. I always want to steer towards the positive side of things. So let's focus on the positive. Again, how can we use this as an opportunity for a meaningful discussion, meaningful dialogue, meaningful conversation? For years and years, things have been unsettled. Inequality, workplace inequality, racism, gender inequality. I mean, we could talk about all the issues, disparity, poverty, homelessness. There's so many things to touch on. And this situation This campaign is literally the culmination of everything that is unsettled. It's one thing for a person or a company to have an intention. It's another thing to take action towards that intention. Now is the time for action to be taken. We need to take action. Corporations need to take action. Organizations need to take action. We need to all come together collectively and sit down and have these conversations that just have not taken place yet. For one reason or another, for whatever reason, they just haven't taken place yet. People feel uncomfortable. People leave the room. People storm out. We can't handle it. We don't have the emotional capacity to handle it. Now's the time. Pepsi is the corporation. Corporate interests. That's what they represent. Business. Pepsi represents business. Businesses help to keep economies thriving. We need business. We can't be mad at that. We need business. Pepsi is at the forefront of business. We got that. Government, policy, we know what's happening there. That's been ripe for change for a while now. Social movements, society, culture, we know what's happening there. The protests. Again, unsettlement. We need resolutions. We need solutions. So how can we start weaving this together? How can we begin to actually sit down and have these conversations? So I've stayed away from reading too much into the details and opinions of what people think about this particular incident with Pepsi. However, what did catch my eye is something that was said by MLK's daughter, and it was very well articulated, which I'm not surprised. And she said that this is an opportunity to bridge. And when I saw this is in the Huffington Post. Bernice A. King, MLK's daughter, who's a contributor to HuffPost. When I read that, and this is this afternoon when I read it, I didn't really think about doing this video until this morning, but I had to go to school, work, and I just didn't have the time to do it. So, I just used that time throughout the day to think about what I wanted to say, how I wanted to put this together. And it just so happened that this afternoon when I went on Twitter, I was just scrolling down the conversations, just reading into what people were saying. And most people are just weighing their opinion in a way that isn't really addressing the issue, isn't trying to solve what's going on in our society. Their comments about the small stuff that we always talk about, that we like to talk about, that we like to entertain ourselves with, make fun of, joke, memes. And that's funny. Entertainment is fun. But whenever there's a deeper message to be understood, I feel that it's important for that to come to the surface. And thanks to Mrs. King, she's helping to bring that to the surface. And I also, with whatever reach I have, the platform that I have, would like to bring the deeper issue to the surface. And this issue is an issue of communication. It's an issue of leaders from the corporate sector, leaders that lead billion-dollar companies, sitting down with policymakers, sitting down with community organizers, sitting down with educators. It's a matter of bringing these sectors together now. We know how it is when it's divided. We know what that looks like. That looks like what we see right now outside, division. And when we are divided, we break down. Structures break down. Societies break down. We cannot thrive when we are divided. Therefore, we must use this situation as an opportunity to unite, bring our minds together, bring our experience together, bring our backgrounds together. We all have unique experiences that we can offer to one another to create a better, just society and world, period. So we have to get over whatever setbacks or reservations we have as individuals to make things better. And that is exactly what Miss King mentioned. This is an opportunity to bridge. It's an opportunity to have the courageous conversations that we are just not making time to have. Take collective action. I agree 100%. Before I even read this article, that's what I wanted to get across. In fact, I posted it on Facebook this morning. And it stirred up more comments than I've ever had. Because it's a conversation we need to have. Leaders need to step forward. There needs to be transparency. We need to see authenticity. At the end of the day, we're people. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. If people make mistakes, brands make mistakes, companies make mistakes. But what are we going to do to correct those mistakes? When we make mistakes, our job is to correct it. Not just put out some press release. Not just be quiet for a little while and hope things go away. Step in front of the problem, take accountability, and correct it. It's time that we come forward. Yes, this was a huge mistake. What can we do to correct it? What can we do to make it right? Let's get in front of this situation. Let's sit down with those who are offended. Let's really discuss not only what we did wrong, but how we can make it right. Yes, the agency behind the creative work, who signed off, account managers, account execs, many parties are involved in the execution of a creative project. I understand that. Trust me, I understand that. And I feel as though when we can come forward and sit down, we can really resolve the issue at hand. And it's more than just coming forward as a corporation. It's also us as people having the ability to not judge and sit down at the table as well. We can't expect corporations to come forward and be truthful and honest if they know that we are temperamental and emotional and upset and can't converse with a clear head, because then they're fearful of what we might do. They're afraid they might go out of business. They're looking out for their best interests. So we can't blame them. We all have to make time to sit down and think about what is happening. Think about what is going on. And ultimately have the conversations to make things better. We have the players, corporations, Pepsi. Take charge, take the lead, make this thing right. Shift the paradigm. This is an opportunity to put money where the mouth is. You want to project a greater message of global unity? Then sure. Where's the investment? Where's the capital? Where's the energy? Relationship capital, equity, social capital, equity, influence. It's there. You take the charge, lead by example, other corporations follow. In fact, there are corporations doing it right now. Public benefit corporations, Warby Parker and the great work they're doing, Tom's, tons of companies, up and coming, startups. It's the future of business. It's the future of business. So now, there's no better time for Pepsi to actually win. As crazy as it sounds, from a business perspective, there's no better time than Pepsi to actually stand up for what it is they truly believe. If they truly believe it, put their money where their mouth is, and say, listen, this is what we meant, this is what we represent, we stand behind it, we want to make things better, we want to bring society together. We'll take the charge as a corporation. We'll do it. We'll lead the charge. We'll put money behind it. We want to meet with community leaders. We want to try to understand the challenges of race, of class. We want to understand the challenges of immigrants that devote so much energy, put in so much work to making this country better. We want to understand that as a corporation. And then other corporations will follow. This is our time now to use this opportunity to make things better. Instead of scrutinizing one another, making fun of one another, it's time to make it better. That's it. That's it. Everyone could come out a winner. We don't have to be mad at Pepsi. We don't have to be mad at Kendall. We all make mistakes. We are people. Corporations are driven by people. We make mistakes. So we all have to sit down and connect heart to heart and remediate what has been happening over the past few months, few years, few decades, few centuries, generations throughout humanity. Now is time the time to address it. All hands on deck, all parties involved. We have to make things better. We have to. And I will continue to do whatever I can in my control to make things better within my influence. So with that being said, Aquaus Kelley, A Lover's Ambition, 7 Days of Wisdom. Let's make better happen. Peace, love, unity.